Hi everyone, Stacy Sutton here. Wanted to introduce you to two really great guys that I met through my Anatomy 1 class this semester. Their names are Edgar and Daniel, and they come from the country of Venezuela. When I sat down to talk with them, I wasn't really sure where the conversation was going to lead, and I was kind of nervous about whether or not I would truly understand everything they said to me. Thankfully, both men have a really good fluent English as their second language, so that helped a lot. We discussed everything from family and food, because of course you cannot discuss another culture without talking about food. We talked about education, the system here and there, and we also talked about the employment differences between the countries. The guys' names are Daniel and Edgar. Daniel is 19 years old and Edgar is 26. Again, both men are from Venezuela, but they are from different towns. They did not know each other prior to coming to Campbellsville University, and both men are in their sophomore year and are here for our sports program, which, even though I'm not big into sports, I hear that Campbellsville offers a really great sports program. When talking about their families, both guys shared with me that they each had a sibling at home. Edgar's brother is older than him and is in his last year of college, and Daniel's sister is younger than him and she is in her first year of college, and both of them are still located in Venezuela along with their parents. The men do greatly miss their families, but they understand the sacrifice to come and get a better education and to join a winning sports team. Something they shared with me that I thought was really interesting, that's a big difference between our culture and theirs, is that in their families, they both have two last names. They take on the mother and father's name, because even though in America women are considered equal, we still are not considered the head of household when we are in a married situation. In Venezuela, the men and women are equal. Both of them are considered head of household, which I thought was really cool. As far as the food goes, we have to talk about that first, because I love food and it's just my favorite thing to talk about, to be honest. Something they shared with me, they felt that our eating schedule was really weird, and that's been a big adjustment for them. They are used to eating breakfast a little bit later in the day than what we are. Their biggest meal is lunch. That would be equal to what we have for supper typically when we have a bigger supper. And for supper time, we typically eat anywhere between 5 and 7 p.m. And in Venezuela, they're used to not eating until about 9. So they said that was one big adjustment for them when they came here, because I guess the university serves dinner at the latest about 7, and the boys said they're usually used to eating around 9, so they had to get used to not being hungry and having snacks handy in case that happened. Also, they thought it was strange what we consider a meal here, they wouldn't even touch in Venezuela. For example, getting up and eating breakfast, we consider a cup of coffee and a donut to be a complete meal. They found that to be very odd, and the first few times they saw that happening, or they asked friends, hey, let's go grab some breakfast, and the friends told them, hey, we've already ate, we had a donut, we had some coffee, the guys thought that was really strange. They wanted to know where their eggs and bacon were, and I guess I can't blame them. I would much rather have eggs and bacon than just a donut. Something that they missed the most, and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's a dish called arepa. And according to www.southamericanfood.about.com, an arepa is the most famous dish from Venezuela. It's a cornmeal cake that can be grilled, baked, or fried. This is split open, and it's filled with a variety of cheese and meats. Arepa is a basic part of the Venezuela diet, and it is eaten in place of bread for most meals. To me, that reminded me of a Hot Pocket, I guess, but I would assume that it is much healthier than our Hot Pockets. But as they described that to me, it sounded really good, and they said that normally that is something that they eat at breakfast, and so I can definitely understand why they would question why we're just having a donut and coffee when we could be in Venezuela and having something as tasty as an arepa. When we talked about the education system, both guys felt that our education system is easier on us than what it is in Venezuela. They think a lot more is expected of them in their home country than here. And they both feel that there is a lot more free time as far as school life and free time go here in America than in Venezuela. I did some research on this because I wanted to know a little bit more about the differences in the education. And according to a website that I searched, which was education.stateuniversity.com, education in Venezuela is compulsory up to high school. Compulsory basically means that it is required. Classes are conducted in Spanish in non-sectarian schools. Education is free for all, and every citizen has the right to attend public schools. Now, the guys did tell me that they learned some of their English language prior to coming over here for school, but the majority of their language they did pick up once they arrived here. Also, the same website indicated that although education is generally free, less than 15% of the university-age population attends the university on a full-time basis. The reason for that, books, transportation, and daily expenses still remain the main burdens for the majority of the population. So they have some of the same issues that we do here in America. When I discussed with them the employment between here and there, they said that employment was really tough to find unless you have connections with people on the inside. The biggest issues were purchasing vehicles. They said that vehicle costs compared to here and there, their cost was much higher, even though gas was a lot less expensive, and that just transportation in general to work is difficult to find. Both men said that generally it's not worth the expense to actually have a job. I researched minimum wage in Venezuela, and according to VenezuelaAnalysis.com, in 2012, Venezuela actually had a 32.25% rise in the minimum wage, which is a huge amount. But according to this, the rise was a total of 2,048 bolivars. I'm sure I said that wrong, which averages about 476 American dollars. Could you imagine minimum wage for a whole month only being $476? So I can definitely see where expense to get to work probably wouldn't outweigh actually being at work. So I learned a lot of great stuff from these guys. I had a lot of fun with them. Their points and their views on our employment and education and of course food were really interesting, and I've enjoyed talking to them since. I hadn't spoke to them prior to this, so it's been a great learning experience and it had helped me make new friends. So I hope you've learned a little bit today, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future.